everybody. Welcome back to Open for Business. You know what? In this world, you finally run into people that stand behind what they do. And if anybody knows me, that everybody knows that my whole world is getting into the RV world. And I'll tell you, we had a camper. We had a little incident with it. We plugged in the wrong thing and blah, blah, blah. Needed to get it fixed. That man right there, Joe Teffeau, right, took my camper, brand new camper too, and it is perfect now. And he also takes care of everything else. So Joe, let's talk about Westcoast RV. And first of all, what made you get into the RV world?
Well, I was always in the car business, and 1998 on forward, 9/11 had hit, and I was dabbling with a few RVs that I would pick up and I would sell. Well, when 9/11 hit, I had 150 cars on my lot.
Right.
I couldn't get rid of. So my girl, the secretary, she says to me, I know how to get rid of the cars. We'll put them on eBay. So we did that. We got rid of them all, and we started doing the RVs.
Okay.
Well, I would go buy an RV, fix it all up, put it on eBay. Not really open to the public.
Right.
And I would sell these things, and they just kept selling and selling and selling. We were doing 30 to 60 RVs a month.
Holy cow.
The problem we were having was getting repair guys, because we were not in the repair business,
Right.
to do the right job when they came to us,
Right.
or when we took it somewhere. So we started learning ourselves, because we had a heavy electrical background and everything. And that's basically what we did. And we started repairing RVs. So my son Nicholas, who's now 26, he was working for an AC contractor and he got injured. So he came aboard. He said, Dad, let's start doing the mobile RVs business. And that's what we did. And when we fix somebody's RV, we stand behind 100%, no matter what the laws are or whatever. We take care of problems.
Right.
It's pretty interesting, because we never advertised or nothing. It was just word of mouth, and it just got crazy. Like right now, we stay slammed.
I know that every time here lately, I've called you, and it's like, I am so busy. And so let me ask you this. I know this is probably maybe a loaded question, but I don't think it is. What is like one of the top 3 issues that go wrong with an RV?
Electrical problems.
I was like, see this right here? This is, and he came in actually. So anyway, my whole electrical system went down on my camper, right? And the first question, he goes, "Do you have one of these?" And I'm like, I know everybody keeps saying I need one, but no, I don't have one. He goes, that would have saved your RV. So literally, $200 would have saved my RV, right?
Correct.
$200 would have made it where I didn't have an RV issue or my camper issue, and instead it cost what, thousands of dollars?
Yes,
because you replaced everything.
Yes.
So I mean, it's blown. So okay, so electrical is one.
Water leaks.
Water leaks.
And toilets.
Oh, that's the stinky part of RV.
People don't understand you cannot put regular toilet paper in these things.
Now see, being a boat owner for all my life, I knew that's when the one thing I did going in knowing, I'm like, cannot use normal TP. You gotta have that one ply made for RVs and marine so it breaks down easier, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And the other problem with it is, on the internet, when people learn about RVs, they have so much misconception.
Yes.
They think when they go to a campground and hook up to the sewer, that they're immediately supposed to pull them 2 valves and leave it open. Well, it's not like a house. You need the water in there and the sewage to at least stay half full to break up the toilet paper. So when you do pull the valves, it can go out.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just a big wadded ball of toilet paper.
Of goo.
It clogs up. It's like concrete, you know.
Right.
And we have a company that comes out and steams the tanks all the time. We changed the valves and stuff though
Right.
in the house.
So let's talk about what all West Coast RV does. Because, oh, by the way, this is very awesome. They are an award-winning company. I mean, you're a gold level Tampa Bay Times.
Yes.
Right? You should hear the story. We don't have time. Well, maybe we do. You should hear the story about how he found out he won because he thought they were soliciting, and he's like, "No, I don't want any. I'm good. Don't call me no more. Leave me alone." But let's talk about what all our West Coast RV does.
We buy, sell RVs.
Okay.
We do sales service, all kinds of maintenance. We're owned and certified. We fix generators. Anything to do on RV, we do complete remodels, complete roofs. The only thing we do not do is when it comes to the engine.
Okay.
We do not do any engine work. We can, but we do not have the time, John.
Right.
I'm telling you straight. We send everybody up to CDs or another local repair shop for engine work.
That's good. So you literally now, and the good thing is you're mobile.
Yes.
So not only can we bring our RVs and campers to you, but you'll actually go to them to work on it.
We go to any campground from Jacksonville to Miami.
Oh,
and that is
the whole state?
Yes.
So that's why you're busy.
Yeah, we'll show up anywhere, anytime to fix stuff. Little story I tell you, when COVID hit, we went through this shortage.
Yes.
And we got a call from our AC company, and they said, listen, we're having troubles with getting boards and all of that stuff, so we're just letting you know. I says, how many AC units do you have now in stock?
Right.
And they had thousands of them, of course. I says, send me a semi.
Right.
And they did. It pulled, I got a video on Facebook. It pulled up out front, and we made sure we had air conditioning units, both brands, for the whole summer. Because if somebody's down here from Massachusetts or wherever, and they're camping, and they got 2 weeks in the campground,
right,
and their AC goes out in August, you know what the weather's like down
not
here.
in August. You do not want to not have air conditioning in August. It'll just tear you up.
We are out there, AC units on and running within 1 hour.
That's awesome.
They're back in business. And we don't overcharge them just because we're the only one that had the unit.
Right.
We're very fair priced.
And that's phenomenal, because that's most people would like, supply and demand going to cost you more now, and it's like, wow, really? It didn't cost that 2 weeks ago, didn't cost that a week ago, but now it's supply and demand, and it's going to go up. That's crazy.
Correct.
That is absolutely crazy. So, what is one of the worst things you can do to your RV?
The worst thing you can do is let it sit.
Not use it.
Not use it.
Yep.
There's so many problems from letting it sit, because from 2018 backwards, they have hydrogen refrigerators in them. They have no compressor.
Right.
So the hydrogen just sits on the bottom of the refrigerator.
Okay.
And sometimes it can take days, or it ruins the refrigerator.
Oh my, I didn't know that.
From sitting. So when people go and store them in an RV lot or a storage lot and forget about them for 6 months, they're calling us for the refrigerator.
Hey, it won't work. Or it smells funny. And,
First thing I tell them, pop the back off the outside cover. You just take a dime and undo the 2 pins.
Right.
And tell me if there's yellow anywhere. Because if the ammonia leaked out, the fridge is done.
Oh, got it.
Anything else we can fix.
See, so here's the thing. So I just learned something, right? Now, I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm pretty mechanically inclined. I've been in boats my whole life, right? And then all of a sudden I just found out if you let it sit, well, ours never sits, but if it does sit, and I didn't know that back pin back there was for the refrigerator.
Correct.
Because I know there's a one for the water heater, right?
Yes.
I didn't know there was one for the refrigerator.
Yes, another thing I'll tell you about that too, there's a black line, corrugated line that comes down.
Right.
And that line, the mud daubers build nests in there, and your refrigerator won't cool as good. And you'll be calling me up saying, and I tell people, listen, take a coat hanger or go up Home Depot, buy a brush, just stick it up and down the line. There's no sense spending money.
Wow.
And
so instead of having them bring it in, or you just say, hey, look, this is really what it probably is. Just do this first before you get me to come out. That's unheard of.
John, I'm telling you, I spend more time on the telephone explaining to people how to fix it themselves so we don't have to go out. Because if we had to go out to all these calls, I'd need 200 service techs.
Right, exactly. So what's a good practice if you're not if you don't use your RV heavy, right? So at least once a month, turn it on, let it run for a couple hours just to get everything functioning, make sure it's all good, take it for a drive. You want to hear something stupid? So we'll jump in the RV and we'll go up to Brooksville, to Coney Island, and we'll all have hot dogs, and I'll open it all up out there near a parking lot because they have a little side parking lot, and we'll just drive up there, sit, have some lunch, shut it all back down, drive it back home, and I'm like, okay, if I can't go a long distance, at least I'm doing something with it to let it work.
That's a great idea.
Right.
I mean, you could always ride out to Fred Howard Park near a beach,
right,
and just do a beach day in it. Because
there you go.
You invest all this money in an RV, it's like a boat. If you're not going to use it, I wouldn't have it. Mm-hmm. Why let it rot?
Yeah.
You know, it's a serious issue, and RVing's great. When we go RVing, we got to meet 50, 60, 70 people. And now it's gotten to the point when I go RVing, I got to keep my tailgate down. Because
so
when they see that thing, I got people knocking on the door 8:30 at night.
Hey, Joe, I got a problem, buddy. Can you come look at it? No, I'm on vacation. Leave me alone. Correct.
And there's not a lot of people in this field. Actually, there's pretty much none in. You know,
right.
There's not techs. There's people that go out and try to fix them. They say they're techs, and then we're getting phone calls.
Right,
you
right.
know? You know me, I don't badmouth other companies. You know, I never blurt names like that. But in the RV business, there are some bad, unethical, big dealerships that are unbelievable.
Right.
I don't know how to get away with what they do. I've testified in court cases against them. Just a lot of nonsense. The customer's number one. If you come in and I do something and nobody's perfect and I screw it up, I'll make it right.
Right.
And that's just the way it is.
Right. See, service, I think customer service has become a lost art, you know, and it's good to find those people out there that still have really good customer service. I mean, you should have seen me. I flew back in from a funeral, or in between dying and funeral, and I didn't pay attention. I plugged my camper because I had to go take it for a rental, plugged it right in, and all of a sudden nothing worked, and I'm like, well, that's weird. And I'm like, well, it seemed to work, and I called Joe. I'm like, dude, I have a rental light today. He sent your son Nick out. And Nick goes, and I know Nick didn't want to tell me. He's like, I just hate to tell you this, dude. But, man, I mean, you guys were on it. I brought it over to you. 2 weeks later, hey, it's done. And I'm like, what? Because when you tell me you got to gut it to fix all the wire, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be months. Nope, 2 weeks.
So what did you think about our service? Was it good?
Phenomenal. Love Nick. Nick's a good kid. I mean, good kid, quiet spoken, whole 9 yards. But man, it's not like this is one of the worst things you can ever do is have a tech show up and go, well, I ain't never seen that before. And I'm like, oh, geez, that's not what I wanted to hear. He goes, no, I know what it is. He goes, and he pulled, and boom, and he's like, yeah, you kind of fried, and it's got to come. And I'm like, okay.
That's what it is, because with RVs, they're not like houses. When you plug them in wrong or something happens, everything goes back through the DC system also. So all your 12-volt stuff is shot along with all your 110 stuff.
Right.
We were just lucky we could get your parts pretty quick, because you could have been
I am
months.
very grateful, and I feel fortunate that happened that way.
I actually, because it was you, I asked some favors from the companies we deal with.
Good guy.
That's what happened. But see, this surge protector.
Right.
I'm going to tell you too. It's got lights on it.
Yes.
Okay. When you plug this in, you plug the RV in, there's no damage ever going to happen to the RV.
Okay.
It'll kick the breaker. It's got a breaker in here. It'll shut
inside.
it off. The other thing good about this is when you go up to North Florida, like when you're up in North Florida, they run off of Delta Power, which means they have an open ground.
Oh.
So you always want to have the surge protector in. Even though it's not going to burn anything up, it is putting a strain on your system.
Okay.
So The 30 amp and the 50 amp are very good units. This is one of the best.
Right.
Made by Progressive Energies. The other thing is sewer hoses.
Oh.
You know, don't go to Walmart and buy the sewer hose for $9.99 because when that thing breaks, you got a mess in the park, and your neighbor next door is not going to like you when you smell
He'll be like,
that
"Don't
all
ever
night."
come back again, please."
It's funny though.
Right.
It's weird.
What about putting these? I know everybody, because every now and then I'll hear people talking, and you can tell if it's a seasoned RV guy or if it's a newbie, right? And then always, so what kind of tabs are you putting in your sewer in your holding tank? And one guy goes, "I don't put anything in there. I just keep it clean." And then the other guy goes, "Well, I'm throwing them in there constantly." Good, bad? I mean, you know, like the pooper eaters or whatever they're called.
If you maintain your sewer correctly, your septic, your little tanks, I call them, they're like septics, you are not going to have a problem.
Right, okay.
The biggest problem is when you don't maintain them, you're going to know because you're going to get them little flies up out of your toilet. You're going to see them in the RV.
Right.
And people will say, "Where are all these flies coming from?" Well, they're coming from inside the toilet.
Okay.
The other thing is, you know the RV toilet because you have one.
Right.
It's not like a regular toilet.
No.
You got to push the foot pedal or the handle.
Right.
Always keep water in it.
Yes.
The other thing is the valve on the bottom inside the toilet goes back and forth.
Right.
Petroleum Vaseline, every 6 months, just take your finger or rag, whatever.
Keep that lubed
and
up.
keep that lubed up so it keeps it sealed.
Okay.
Because if you're trying to use it with no water in the toilet, that means your stuff is just going bloop.
Right.
That's
Not
where it's
good.
going to stay.
That's where it's going to stay. Because, I mean, you build a pyramid in there, right?
Correct.
Yeah, a little pyramid. And then if you drop all your water out all the time, then you've got a pyramid that's going to turn into concrete, which ain't good. So.
No. And RV blasters, they do a great job. They come out and they can blast your tanks and clean them. We do not do that.
Yeah. What about I know some people have a thing in there where you plug your black water flush and it spins around or something like that. Is that good to do every now and then, or just keep it clean, or call RV
Just
blasters?
keep it clean. A lot of this stuff that they sell is just not nonsense. It's just like nonsense.
Right. Now, this is going to turn into an RV show. So what about water pressure? Now, I see a lot of people have the filters on there, or they have the little brass fittings on there, because I've always been told, and again, I'm not an RVer yet, I'm trying to be one, that the water pressure is not regulated properly in most RV campgrounds.
The water pressure is never regulated, so you always need the pressure gauge.
Okay.
Always. And I use a filter just to keep the lime out of all your faucets and everything, because down here it's really bad. We get a lot of calls for that too. The people call up and say, "Well, my water tank's full, I'm hooked to the hose, nothing's coming out the faucets."
Right.
We go out there and it's a lime problem. We got to change the faucets and everything.
Oof.
It's
not good.
It's not good.
No, that's not good.
The other problem is when people know that they have that little flow pump.
Okay.
So when you're driving down the road, you're not hooked to a hose, you got
turn
water.
your pump on, right?
You turn your pump on. Well, there's a little valve in that thing, and it will backfeed, and when it goes bad, and it'll start pumping water out the side of your RV.
Oh,
and
my.
people are amazed when this happens. They're like, "My RV's shooting water at me." It's like, what do you mean? "Oh, we know what it is. We'll take care of it." And it's just stupid stuff.
Right.
Awnings are funny. The stuff people do with awnings.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. The best thing when you buy an RV is rent the movie with Robin Williams with the RV, because this is what really happens in real life.
Right.
It was a movie. It was funny, but it happens.
Right. Yeah, I remember that was a nightmare. He went every bad scenario that was in that movie. Right.
Yes. I had a Bluebird RV in there I sold to the owner of Brian's Hot Dogs, and it's a big motor coach. This is $800,000 coach. They left with the awning open. We had to chase them down 52.
Oh my God. Well, mine won't even start at the if the awning's out. Mine won't start. It's like,
The big buses, the older ones,
yeah,
there was not a lot of safety.
no safety
features.
stuff on there. Okay, now let's talk. Okay, so driving down the road, I learned something from you guys about tires. Like, I didn't realize tires actually have an expiration date.
Yes, they have a date code. There's a date code on every tire, and it tells you when it was made.
Okay.
The DOT law is 6 to 7 years maximum for the tires. If you get in an accident, your insurance company, they send a smart adjuster out and they check the tires. They're not going to pay the claim.
So if your tires are out of date and you get an accident, they're like, yeah, your tires are out. Not gonna.
If the other person actually caused the accident, it's going to come back on you that caused the accident because you shouldn't have been on the road with them tires.
With them tires. All right, it's time for new tires because
Yes.
I think I hit 6 years this year.
We just teamed up with Suncoast RV on State Road 52 behind Kicking Wings.
Yep.
If you call me and go in there, I will call them and they'll give you our price on the tires.
Wow. See, look at there. See, that's a man who takes care of his customers.
Always.
That's absolutely phenomenal. So let's. What have I not touched on that Westcoast RV does? I think we've talked almost everything, but I know one thing you guys do is you actually do, like we have a picture of one, I think, where you guys are actually doing the body and paint work.
Oh yes, we do body and paint work. We repair panels, as you can see up there on the screen. I talked my son into letting me spray. That job there we just did for General RV out of Dover, Florida. They delivered it and the cabinets got crushed with the chair.
Oh my.
So they called us to repair it. John, it's really funny because when they have problems in this county or Ocala or wherever,
Right.
the big dealerships, we actually have open charge cards. They tell us just fix it, run the card, and no questions asked because they know I won't, you
won't stick it to
screw
them.
Yeah, screw
Right.
anybody over.
Right.
There's one we fixed. The whole slide out fell out of it. As you can see, you look right outside. We had to
Wow.
replace the whole floor, the slide out brackets. There's a lot to do with it.
So slide outs, is that now, what's the maintenance on that? I mean, because I know some people go, I've never done anything with my slide outs. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to put at least some silicone spray on there to keep it kind of gooey.
You have to use slide out grease.
There's an actual
Or-
grease for it.
Or spray. Some people use WD-40, but for some reason it collects a lot of dirt.
I was always told WD-40 is not good to use because it will dry out your rubber.
Rubber, yes, it will dry out your
So
rubber.
if there's any gaskets and stuff in there, that has a tendency just to dry rot it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's actually grease for slide outs.
Yes, it's slide out lube. You can get it on Amazon. It's the cheapest place to get it.
Okay.
We use Amazon a lot.
Do you?
Yes.
That's awesome. I didn't, so what have we not talked about? Roof. Let's talk about a roof. Oh my gosh. My last RV. All right. Yes, I was the guy that went and freaking got Flex Seal and painted the whole top because I didn't know any better. I'm like, it's supposed to be flexible. Okay, that's what it does. It's flexible.
John, I'm going to tell you right now, the Flex Seal products, I don't know a lot about them, but I know you don't use them on RVs.
Don't use them on RVs.
If somebody comes in and they sprayed Flex Seal around the leak and stuff,
Right.
we tell them we literally have to cut the rubber off the roof. I'm not touching it without it because it's like concrete.
Right.
It doesn't seal the leak. The leak's still leaking.
Right.
That's why you're in here talking to me.
Right. Exactly.
The best thing to use is caulk.
Okay.
The caulk that's made for the roof.
Right.
Or you can use the PL 9000 from Home Depot.
Right.
Or the Marine
It's the
3M.
200.
Yeah.
Oh,
0502,
that
whatever
stuff
it is.
goes everywhere.
The best.
Once it opens up, you're going to have it everywhere on you, on your legs, on the proper. It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm the old Marine guy. I've used that stuff more than I wanted to. Last question. We've only got about windshields. So when you get those windshields that start going white on you, is that a delamination issue or a?
Correct with the windshield.
Okay.
Now, if the windshield starts cracking on the bottom, going up, that is a structural issue.
Okay.
And you actually need to go to a body shop. People think, oh, I just replaced the windshield. No. It's going to crack again.
Right.
Because for the windshield to crack from the bottom or from the top down, that actually means your roof is moving.
Which means your whole coach is loose.
Believe it or not, Winnebago, the windshields are the main structure of the unit.
What?
If you pull the windshields out, you can basically take that roof and move it left
Wobble
or right.
it.
But you can also take a Winnebago after it's built, upside down, 20 feet up. I watched them do it at the factory, and drop it, and nothing happens to it. On
there
its
you
roof.
go.
That's how strong they are.
Look, Winnebago, right? So, hey, look, appreciate you watching. If you need to get a hold of Joe, we've had his information up here the whole time. So that way, if you have an RV and you need service, or you're looking for another RV, that's the man to call. Thank you for watching Open for Business. We'll see you guys next show.